Ever wondered how a family, starting with just a reality TV show, managed to build this multi-billion-dollar empire? And how they totally shook up what it means to be famous, even changing beauty trends across the globe.
It's quite a story.
Well, you're in for a treat. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving deep into the whole Kardashian-Jenner phenomenon. You shared a stack of really fascinating sources covering their journey. I mean, right from the surprising start to where they are now total cultural and business icons.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to pull out the most important bits, the key takeaways from all those sources you sent over, give you a shortcut to understanding how this all happened. Because this family, they've pioneered something pretty unique, blending their personal lives, like completely, with really strategic business moves. It's something we haven't quite seen before on this scale.
So yeah, we're going to tackle some big questions, like how did they get so famous seemingly overnight? What was the real catalyst? And beyond the fame, how did they actually turn that into the massive business empire we see today? And, what's the real impact they've had on culture, beauty, even the way we talk about things?
Big questions.
Definitely. I'm genuinely excited to dig into this, especially that transition, taking something so personal, their lives, and making it a global brand. So our sources kick off with Kris Jenner, born back in '55 in California, her first marriage, 1978, to Robert Kardashian, the lawyer.
And what's really fascinating there, I think, is how that early exposure to high-profile media, through Robert Kardashian's involvement in the O.J. Simpson trial in '95, that set a subtle stage.
Right, that was huge news.
Exactly. It wasn't just name recognition, though. Kris Jenner, from really early on, seems to have gotten this insider's view of media, of narrative control, partly through Robert's work. It gave her this almost uncanny foresight into how you could strategically package and, well, monetize personal life on a massive scale.
That's a really good point. Didn't think of it quite like that. So, with Robert, Kris had Kourtney, Kim, Khloe, and Rob. Then, after the divorce, she marries Bruce Jenner, Olympic champion, huge name.
Yeah, the decathlon gold medalist.
And they have Kendall and Kylie.
So you see, that's where you get this initial blend, this mix of existing celebrity and family. Bruce Jenner was already a household name, like an American hero figure.
Totally.
And that fusion created the Kardashian-Jenner unit we know, a family already kind of used to the spotlight, used to managing a public image. It really laid the groundwork.
Okay, so we've got the family background, the sort of early exposure. But the real turning point, the moment they went from just familiar faces to actual global icons, that seems to be 2007, right? With Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, isn't it?
Mm.
A show just about their daily lives, shopping, working, fighting, falling in love, kids. How did that become a global sensation?
Exactly.
What the sources suggest is it wasn't just the drama, though there was plenty of that. They really pioneered this idea of, let's call it curated authenticity.
Curated authenticity, I like that.
Yeah, they showed enough realness, the arguments, the messy bits, the chaos, to make viewers feel connected, like they knew them. But at the same time, they were very carefully controlling the overall story, maintaining this aspirational lifestyle. That balance, that was pretty groundbreaking back then.
That feeling of intimacy you mentioned, that sort of direct line to them. That really does feel like the secret sauce, doesn't it? And it wasn't long, especially for Kim, before they figured out how to, well, make money from that connection. How did that leap actually happen from TV star to, like, serious business mogul?
Right. Well, the sources show Kim was smart. She didn't just chase endorsement deals, put her name on anything. She moved quickly into building her own brands, direct-to-consumer powerhouses.
Like Skims.
Exactly. Skims is the prime example, now worth billions. It wasn't just Kim Kardashian's shapewear. It was identifying a real gap in the market, inclusive sizing, comfortable stuff, building a brand around body positivity, and then using their insane social media reach to sell it directly.
Skipping the middleman.
Totally. That direct pipeline to millions of fans that fueled that crazy fast billion-dollar valuation.
And it wasn't only Kim doing this, was it? That entrepreneurial drive seemed to catch on with the whole family.
Oh, definitely. The sources really highlight that. Each sister found her own lane, her own niche. Kourtney, she leaned into wellness with Push.
Right, the lifestyle brand.
Yeah. And Chloe created Good American, focusing on size-inclusive clothing, really championing that body positivity message too.
And then the younger ones, Kendall and Kylie, they jumped right into, proved it wasn't just a one-off success. Kendall became this super successful high fashion model, walking for Chanel, Versace.
Huge names. Victoria's Secret too.
Right, and Kylie. Well, Kylie Cosmetics, the Kylie lip kits,
Yeah.
famously hitting billionaire status incredibly young.
Youngest self-made, though that term got debated.
True, true. And Kendall launched her tequila brand too, 818.
Yeah, what really stands out is the strategy behind it all, the diversification. They weren't just faces for hire. They became CEOs, creative directors, actual brand builders. So now their collective brand covers fashion, beauty, luxury, even abstract concepts like confidence and family. And the money comes from everywhere. TV, clothing lines, makeup, apps, games, those massive paychecks for Instagram posts.
Wow.
They really, truly turn fame into a multi-pronged fortune.
And beyond TV, you just can't talk about them without talking about social media. Their influence there is just staggering. Kim and Kylie alone, hundreds of millions of followers. Kim's got, what, over 360 million on Instagram? Kylie's over 400 million.
It's mind-boggling. And that really changed the whole game of celebrity, didn't it? They became famous just for, well, for being themselves online.
Yeah, famous for being famous, people used to say.
Kind of, but they weaponized it.
What?
Using those platforms to push brands, yeah, but also to share personal news, launch products directly, post fashion pics.
Yeah.
It's a direct line, totally unfiltered. They control the narrative way more than stars could in past.
I remember reading this detail in the sources. It just blew my mind. When Kylie posted that first picture of her baby Stormy's hand, it got over 18 million likes in one day.
Insane numbers. It just shows the scale of that digital connection, that influence.
It really does. And the sources make it clear their love lives were always front and center too, right? That became part of the brand.
Oh, absolutely. A huge part. Kim's marriage to Kanye West, their kids. Chloe and Tristan Thompson, the ups and downs, their 2 kids. Kourtney with Scott Disick for years, their 3 kids. And then her marriage to Travis Barker in 2022.
Very public wedding.
Very.
Yeah.
And Kylie with Travis Scott, their 2 kids. Fans followed all of it, like a real-life soap opera, unfolding on TV and social media simultaneously. The line between private life and public performance just completely blurred.
It feels like their cultural impact goes even wider than just business and relationships, though. Like 2015 was a massive moment, wasn't it? When Bruce Jenner came out as transgender, became Caitlyn Jenner.
Huge moment.
Appearing on the Vanity Fair cover, call me Caitlyn.
Yeah, that was globally significant. Caitlyn instantly became one of the most famous trans women in the world. She even got her own show, I Am Kate. And the sources really emphasize how that sparked massive conversations everywhere about gender identity, about trans rights, about family acceptance. The family publicly supported her, which was important, bringing those dialogues right into the mainstream, even though, as they shared, it was a big adjustment for everyone.
And then there's the whole beauty standards thing. Our sources definitely highlight that. Before the Kardashians, the dominant look, especially in modeling, was very tall, very thin.
Vixen, yeah.
They really helped make curvy bodies fashionable, didn't they? Millions started copying their makeup, their clothes, their hair, even reportedly their plastic surgery choices.
Yeah, and this is another area where the sources show a bit of complexity. On one hand, you could see it as empowering, right? Promoting different body shapes, moving away from just one ideal.
Sure.
But on the other hand, critics argue it just created new, unrealistic beauty standards, ones that might be just as hard or expensive to achieve. So whichever way you lean on that, there's just no denying they fundamentally shifted global beauty ideals. The whole aesthetic of the last decade or so owes a lot to them.
It's incredible how they keep evolving, too. Keeping Up ended in 2021 after 20 seasons, over 14 years.
A lifetime in TV terms?
Right. They said they wanted more privacy, time for other projects. But they didn't exactly vanish, did they?
Not even close.
Huh.
By 2022, boom, new show. The Kardashians on Hulu. Similar vibe, but maybe a a bit more focused now on the businesses, the next stage of their lives, relationships, motherhood. It reflects how they've grown, how they adapt.
Always adapting.
Always. And the sources point to the next generation already waiting in the wings.
Right.
Kim's 4 kids, North, Saint, Chicago, Psalm. Khloe's 2, True and Tatum. Courtney's 3, Mason, Penelope, Rain. Kylie's 2, Stormy and Air.
People are already fascinated by them.
Totally. There's that saying, the kids are the next reality stars. It really suggests the Kardashian brand, the dynasty, is set up to continue for potentially decades.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what are the big takeaways? What can you, listening right now, really learn from this whole Kardashian-Jenner story, whether you're a fan or frankly not? The sources seem to offer some pretty clear lessons.
I think so. First, it's about the hustle, right? They show incredible hard work in actually building a brand. They didn't just sit back and enjoy the initial fame. They actively grew it, diversified.
Right. Work ethic seems key.
Second, their use of social media was just incredibly smart, maybe revolutionary for its time, turning followers directly into customers, creating this immediate access point. That's a masterclass in digital marketing.
Yeah, definitely. Third, obviously turning that fame into serious fortune by building multiple diverse businesses, not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And finally, despite all the public drama, all the scrutiny, the sources do highlight that for the most part, they presented a united family front. That projection of togetherness, confidence, self-love, that was also part of the brand strategy. Their story is just this powerful modern case study. Celebrity, branding, the way personal life and business are now completely tangled up. It's a blueprint, really, for understanding influence today.
So this whole deep dive, it really shows a family starting from, well, relative obscurity in some ways, but using personal connections, savvy media strategy to build this multi-billion-dollar entity. And in doing so, they just completely changed the rules for celebrity, for business, for cultural influence.
Yeah, they took that famous for being famous idea and turned it into an incredibly profitable, self-renewing business model. One that countless others have tried to copy, usually not as successfully.
So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. In this world we live in now, so interconnected, where our personal lives feel increasingly like public currency, what's the real cost and the real value of that kind of constant self-exposure and massive influence? Not just for a family like the Kardashians, but for all of us, for society.
That's a deep one to ponder. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope you walk away with a clearer picture of how this family became such a powerhouse and why they continue to be such a dominant force in our culture.